You've been warned, but now Judgment Day is upon you.
I should have realized our destiny was never to stop Judgment Day. It was merely to survive it.
Most of you came to this channel to watch Marvel content, but Marvel has been slacking these past few years to say the least, meaning our discussions about them are often very negative and critical, so we need to take the time for a palate cleanser to remind us of what good cinema used to look like. And what better example is there than the flawless first entry to the Spy Kids franchise? We start with an epic prank that tricks the children at home into thinking they're watching a cartoon. Nice. Then we get introduced to our main characters, Carmen and Junie. Carmen is a sociopathic liar.
Everything okay at school?
Yeah, it's good. It's fine.
Okay.
And Junie has gross fingers.
Okay, what?
So clearly these kids have a lot to learn, and this is a setup to some great arcs down the line. Carmen wants a bedtime story, so Mother recants the tale of Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Out of fear, a new kind of soldier was created. Brilliant, brave soldiers whose greatest weapons were their minds. Those men and women were spies. Now, the only things spies were truly afraid of were other spies. Enemy spies. So sometimes one spy's mission was to make the enemy disappear. He was the assignment that changed her life. But when the moment finally came to carry out her mission, she couldn't do it. It was different than she expected.
We then see the greatest wedding scene put to cinema. Later, we discover that the children are even more helpless than previously thought, as it is revealed that Carmen is a school-skipping juvenile, and Junie is a friendless weirdo. Carmen attempts to murder Junie because her delinquent demeanor makes her despise his loser status.
I told you not to look down.
Their father displays excellent parenting skills when he discovers that his son is a terrible artist. Instead of coddling the child and pretending that his work is good for his age, he snatches the drawing from the child and proclaims how terrible it is.
What's this supposed to be, a self-portrait? What's this supposed to be, a self-portrait? Mom!
Look at this. It's hideous.
Based.
Honey?
Junie goes to school and encounters a bully speedrunner.
Hey, it's the mummy. Nice looking bandages, mummy.
In order to compensate for how pathetic his son is, Junie's father assaults the largest man in his vicinity in order to reassert his dominance over the territory. Now bear with me for a moment while I set the scene as we shift to the villain's perspective. So Willy Wonka and Pee Wee Herman did the fusion dance to create this creature, simply known as Floop. He's a slave to Skynet and is being forced by this T-1000 to create these other cursed abominations, while being held hostage in this evil castle that is being enforced with an army of them. Willy Wonka reveals that he invented the T-1001, which are newer models that are designed to resemble child soldiers that will be able to sneak into their parents' bedrooms and kill them in their sleep without them having suspected a thing.
The president's daughter?
Yet the cunning and intelligence of the world's greatest espionage agents, all rolled into tiny packages I call Spy Kids.
So father wants to go off alone on a secret spy mission, but mother offers snoo snoo, so he allows her to tag along, leaving the children in the tender care of Uncle Felix.
I'm not your uncle.
In truth, the secret mission is actually just their attempt to free themselves from their pains and sufferings of this mortal world. Unfortunately for them, the attempt fails and they get attacked by a gooberfish.
Big gooberfish!
No for long. Watch this.
Honey?
And then they died for real. The children get saved from Felix when he gets murdered by them. The kids then have fun on a jet ski until Carmen attempts to murder Junie for a second time. Later, Junie takes a dump. Then he makes the mistake of eating from Uncle Felix's secret stash.
check it out. Thank you, Carmen. I think it's up to us. You with me.
With you what?
Find the OSS like Felix said.
Okay.
We see the parents wander through the afterlife just before they get ejected down to hell. Then we cut back to Carmen as she makes a third attempt at Junie's life. The children get attacked by ne'er-do-wells, but Junie steps up and murders this woman with zero hesitation. The film displays a revolutionary masterclass in the use of green screen technology, and then Carmen makes a fourth attempt at murdering her brother. The children then find new parents that instantly and lovingly adopt them without question. The film gives us a glimpse into hell.
It's a cruel, cruel world. All you want to have you for their supper. But you'll be free, free. You can all be free. You can laugh, you can smile, you can come and stay a while. You can dream my dream. You can dream my dream. Oh, hello. What are you all doing here?
The children then get attacked by the T-1001s, and after narrowly escaping death, they realize they are in over their heads and seek help from none other than Machete. That's not even a joke, that's actually what happens in the movie.
Dad's code name must be Hombre. So, this must be Machete.
And in typical Skynet fashion, the Terminators realize the imperfections of their human master, so they do to him what they do best. The children find Machete and ask him for help, but
Machete is not responsible for nobody but Machete.
without having him to rely on, the children resort to stealing his stuff and fighting the Terminators on their own. Thankfully, Machete has an above-average lightsaber, some tropical fruit bubblicious, and a fully operational airplane that the children can take advantage of. Machete is impressed by the boldness of these kids, but he is also very pissed off because they stole his airplane. So he confiscates this guy's car to pursue them, but then he crashes into Steven Seagal's house.
Lo siento.
So Steven uses his enigmatic martial arts skills to defend himself, and then gets revenge on Machete for his intrusion by framing him for the attempted murder of Robert De Niro. So then Robert gets understandably pissed and hires a bunch of Redditors to go after Machete. Are we keeping up? Meanwhile, Michelle Rodriguez catches wind of these current events and decides to aid Machete by providing him shelter, and nothing else. And while all of this is unfolding, Carmen then makes murder attempt number 5, this time risking her own life to get the job done. This was her closest attempt thus far, but they still managed to survive and conveniently land in the waters just outside Floop's castle. After enduring and surviving his latest trials, Junie is feeling emboldened, so as a result, he literally pisses on a shark to display his newly acquired increase in confidence.
I couldn't hold it anymore.
This is the big payoff to that arc I was talking about earlier. Once they get inside the castle, the horror begins. Junie finally dies and encounters Floop in the afterlife. While they rest in the Eternal Realm, they debate for millennia over their contradicting philosophies, going over topics like the existence of evil, humanity's role in the universe, the value of free will, and other such topics. Eventually, Junie proves to have the superior intellect and convinces Floop to see the error in his ways. Now enlightened, Floop has obtained power over life and death, and to show his gratitude to Junie for opening his mind, he rewards him by restoring them both back to their mortal forms. The character development for Junie in this film is quite remarkable. That boy has come a long way. We cut back to Machete, who aims to strengthen his numbers against Robert De Niro's forces, so he seeks the aid of none other than Uncle Felix, who somehow managed to survive the thumb mauling. Who knew? However, after feeling guilty for his actions in his past life, Uncle Felix decided to turn his life around and join the church. Because of this, he finds himself unable to assist Machete, as he hopes to live a new life free of violence. He absolves Machete of his sins, then kindly asks him to leave.
I absolve you of all your sins, now get the fuck out.
However, it is too late for Uncle Felix, as the brief interaction between these two paints a target on his back, so the Redditors come for him. This leads Uncle Felix to have one final glorious and redemptive last stand, before he goes the way of the martyr. In dealing with Felix, Robert Robert De Niro learns about Machete's quest to fetch his stolen plane, so now he plans to rally his army of Redditors outside of Floop's castle in order to intercept both Machete and Michelle Rodriguez. And now, left with no other option, Machete assembles an alliance of cholos who ride out to lay siege to said castle, and a great battle ensues. De Niro gets hit by a car, and just when it seems like victory is at hand, Steven Seagal suddenly returns to have an epic Machete fight with Machete, but thankfully the outcome of said encounter did not end up in his favor. Also, Lindsay Lohan was there. Yep, there she is. Moving on, Carmen understandably lives in fear of them. So to ensure her survival, she submits to the will of her thumb overlords and joins their ranks. However, Junie convinces her that doing so is a bad idea. Floop once again uses his newfound powers to restore the children's parents back to life. This guy melted or something. I kind of forgot how he ended up like that. Anyway, the children have a second round of battle against their robot counterparts. Carmen is jealous of her robot self because she worries that it will kill Junie before she does. Not too long after, the entire robot swarm marches upon them, and all seems lost for the family. But suddenly, Machete appears and decapitates all the evil children. They then all live happily ever after until George Clooney suddenly appears and teases the setup for Spy Kids 2. Now I believe I have thoroughly and bravely made my case. You may now always refer to this video whenever you need a reminder of what good cinema looks like. This film is so iconic that I've only ever seen it once when it was in theaters, but it was just so memorable that I still have a perfect memory of everything that happens in it. Next week, we will resume our regularly scheduled Marvel programming. Unless you viewers at home aren't feeling up to the task of liking and subscribing. We have at least 2, maybe 3 more Spy Kids films to cover if need be. If you don't bump those numbers up, I could milk this charade out for the entire summer. Choose your next actions very carefully, and have a swell rest of your day.